right, thanks for joining us, everyone. We are starting project number 2 today. I am excited. It's an 8x11 pond. We're gonna have about 20 feet of stream going into that pond. And what's really fun for me is that they did this themselves about 25 years ago, and they did it the way that Greg started the whole industry. He's got a Rubbermaid tote that he turned into a skimmer. I love this backyard. It's gonna be such an awesome setting. You can see they really care about their property, take really good care of it. They've got a great eye for plantings, and we have just a really cool setting. We're gonna make sure all the views are going towards the house as far as the waterfall goes, but we're gonna have some that go towards a seating area here. It's just set up for entertaining, and we're gonna really take it to the next level. They called us because they were ready for something that was a little easier to take care of and ready to update it, and I'm super excited because we're gonna get to do that with this pond. You can see they used a lot of smaller stones, which we're gonna have they're gonna be repurposing on the property, and then we've got a bunch of tear out to do. So the first thing we're gonna do is get this torn apart, get ourselves to a blank canvas, and then we'll start showing you how we like to build our 8x11 pond. And what I'm really excited for you to see is the transformation from what they did to what we do with our machinery and these big boulders. So if you have not yet, it's a great time to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to follow along because we do all sorts of cool projects, and then we revisit them every so often. So once it's grown in, we want to take you back and show you what it looks like after they've added their touch or we've added our plantings and given it some time to mature, because when we're done, it's a very masculine look. And what really helps that masculine look get broken apart is by adding the plants and softening it over time. So what I'm excited for is how natural this is going to look in about 3 years, because you can just see how well they have a green thumb and how well they've planted this area. I'm really excited to see what this transforms into year after year. Perfect setting, beautiful home in St. Louis Park, and we're gonna get started right now. All right, we are getting ready to pick boulders for project number 2, and this is one of the things people really love about our process. We come down here early in the morning, 7 a.m. to pick out the boulders, and we have an awesome relationship with Boulder Dan here with Rock Hard Landscape Supply. We're down here in Farmington, and he knows what I like, he knows what kind of machines we have, and he just does an excellent job of helping us pick out the perfect pieces of stone to help us make our artwork for you. So we're going to be working on an 8x11 pond with a nice stream in St. Louis Park. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to show you just what these rocks turn into as we start building project number 2. How cool. We are on the start of day 2 here. I've got Sam working on putting in the biofalls, getting it in the right position, because we're not going to be driving any machinery back there, so we can dig that hole out, get it ready. We always like to put class 5 or paver base underneath our biofalls. Good 6 inches of that compacted so that it won't shift. But one of the things we had to do on this project is we had to fill in the hole. We had a lot of dirt, mud, so right now we're working on bringing in extra soil so that we can kind of get creative with our tiering, making sure we have some good tiers happening. We always end up needing soil on all of our projects, so that's one of the things we're going to start with here. Put more than we need in the hole, and then the rest will get moved up the hillside as we're working on it. And that's kind of what we're up to here for the day. Pour it in one side, and then this guy will just move it around, work in tandem with the machinery. We'll just keep kind of giving you an update as it goes, but the big thing is we want to have room for creativity. Want to make sure that it gets a little bit bigger than the 8x11 because we always get an extra liner. We always try our best to over deliver, making sure that it really fits the space and that it feels like it's a piece of our artwork. So that's kind of what we're up to at the moment. Keep watching. Alright, the guys got the pond in a nice dugout area. We're in a good spot with that. Really liking the shape. Kind of has that amoeba feel to it. We're going to have a nice deep spot right here, so the fish are feeling really comfortable eating from your hands, getting used to you. This will be kind of a steep spot, and then we have a couple of nice tiers, and then we'll do our rock work. But first we got to put in fabric and liner. Alright, we got our first big boulders placed. Really wanted to have a nice deep spot right from the start. We'll get some kind of a nice boulder that you can come stand on right here and really look down into the pond. Nice and inviting destination boulder. Got plenty of liner everywhere. As always, we like to do our best to try and minimize our mess, condense it, clean up at the end of every day, and prep for rain as we're expecting some rain over the weekend. But things are looking good, coming along nicely. Alright, it's the end of day 3 here. So when we started this morning, we only had 2 rocks in there, and we got the fish tunnel in, got that nice and hidden, so we've got a hole coming in there, hole coming in there. Got 2 waterfalls built, and the pond is really close to being rocked in. We got to do the skimmer. That'll be tomorrow when we have paver base. We'll put in the biofalls tomorrow too, and we're gonna just keep working our way up the hill, and then we'll have some outcroppings to place. We'll have to, move a bunch of soil, but yeah, we got a lot done today. Loving the way this is looking. Waterfalls are nice and recessed, looking really natural, going towards the viewpoint. That's always something we pay attention to, is where are you looking at it from, so we can really cater the views to where you like to spend most of your time. And then, as always, we like to try and clean up for the day, minimize our mess as much as we can, because this is heavy-duty construction and it gets pretty messy. Alright, Justin is working on one of our processes. Here in Minnesota, we're subject to a lot of heaving and thawing with the winters. So one of the things we always like to do is put compacted gravel paver base underneath our skimmers and our biofalls. Those are the 2 spots that can shift over time that we really want to make sure they don't shift. So that's a big part of our process, is making sure that we're thinking about how to make this last the test of time. While that's happening, we got Brad and Sam working on the edge work, making sure that our dirt is at the right spot. Gonna have to come in with a couple of outcroppings. We always like to try and tell a story. The glaciers were really good to us here in Minnesota, so we try and make it feel like a glacier came through, melted, and left behind this awesome water feature. Really liking the rock work. It's looking really good. Right now, Adam is working on planning our 3rd waterfall. Before we get to our last one, we'll have one coming off of that biofalls underneath the tree there. Not sure if that'll pick up on the camera. There it is. And we've got ourselves a bunch of paver base ready to go underneath that as well. We always like to use heavy duty fabric underneath everything and on top of the liner in a lot of cases too, because we really want this to last the test of time. So we do our best to protect that liner, because fixing a leak is very easy. Finding a leak is the hard thing. So, and then we use a smart level to help us figure out exactly where our water line is going to be. And from there, we're able to fine tune everything. Ourselves a waterfall built. It's going to have 4 nice drops. We got close to 3 feet of height change between the top of the Biofalls and coming down. What I really like is it feels like it was built into the hillside. There's still plenty of work to do. We've got foaming and lights to do, dirt work to do, but it has really come together nicely, and I can't wait to see this get turned on. It's going to have this nice subtle sound, some really nice drops. It's going to look really fantastic, but that's going to do it for the day. So yesterday was a great day. We got all the foaming done on the waterfalls. Now we're gonna gravel in the rest of the waterfall, make sure that's in a good spot. We got the plumbing in, and we ran into a little spot where it got a little technical, and so we put in a winter bypass. What that does is we make sure everything's sloped to that being now the lowest point in the plumbing. And come winter time, we'll open up that valve, making sure that any water that would get into this can drain its way out of the plumbing so it doesn't crack over time. Got some boulders placed to help with our outcroppings. We'll have to do some more on this side of the water feature today. And first thing we're working on is making sure we can get the pond squared away so we can start filling it. But before we fill it, we like to rinse everything down and really try and flush out all of the sediments and things that are left on the rock, so that this has a chance to start with as little bit of dirt in it as we can. But that's going to be what we're up to today. Hopefully you'll get this running and you'll get a chance to see that waterfall in action. But it's just one step at a time. Project number 2 is complete, and man, I am so excited with the way this turned out. It is another living work of art, 1 yard at a time. It was not without challenges. We had weather delays, but you know what? I am so grateful for my team. Today we came and it was spongy, it was wet. I was definitely had the wind taken out of my sails, but the guys just got busy, and I can't believe how much they got done today. They got all the border in, they got it cleaned up, they got the mulch in, they got it running perfectly. They did the cleanup of the front yard. Like, everything is looking awesome. And I am so happy to have these guys surrounding us. We got the drain tile in. That was something we did as an add-on. So if you're watching this and you're like, I want to work with the Pond King crew, don't be afraid to ask us about some other things that might be going on in your yard. They had a low spot where water was collecting, so we suggested, why don't we do a drain tile? We'll put a drain box in and we'll have it spit out down the wall. And I'm so happy they gave us a chance to do that. But it wasn't without challenges, like I said, because when we got here, that whole trench was full of water. But but it was all pitched the right way and it was draining how we wanted. One of the things that they really liked about their last water feature was the sheet waterfall, so we really wanted to do something very similar to have the sheeting effect because the birds love to dance in those sheets of water. So I'm really happy with the way it turned out. We were able to get some sheets, but we also got some really natural waterfalls too, and we've got some really deep areas where the fish are going to want to go and swim. We've got a shallow area of gravel up underneath that tree, so the birds are just going to love it. They're going to be able to just come in from that tree in a safe spot, land, and bathe in that water and splash around. Thanks to Boulder Dan and us picking them together, we got some really showpiece boulders in here, and I just love the way we got these waterfalls to work where they're set behind the stones and it feels really natural. And like I said, we've been dealing with rain the whole time, but the guys really pushed through. This has got everything we need for success. We've got an auto doser on it, we've got a Biofalls with Biofalls in it, and we've got a 30-inch deep pond with a fish tunnel, and I can't wait to come back in 2 weeks for that final reveal. So you're going to want to hit the subscribe button. Make sure to keep watching because we're going to have a final reveal of this, and the lilies are going to break the surface. There's going to be fish in there. The water's going to be nice and clear, and hopefully they'll have some plantings done by the time we get back because they have a green thumb, and this yard is just immaculate, and I can't wait to see what they do to really set it off because that's the thing that really helps. You can tell it's fairly masculine looking right now because it's a lot of boulders. We did try and break it up with our mulch, but what really softens our water features and makes it feel like it was always there is when we start working in the plants. So you're going to want to watch because we will come back in a couple of years and we'll show off what they've done and once it's had the chance to mature. But check this out. Project number 2 is complete and I am so proud of the way this turned out. Another work of art. I love it. We are Pond King Water Gardens, where we create living works of art, 1 yard at a time.